No Antics, Jacob V. Weekly, back on the road. We're on our way to Madison, Wisconsin. Then we're going to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm in the van, and for the first time in the van, we have the hog. The mule hog. Mule Delanore hog.
Not to be confused with the Yule Delanore log.
The Yule log of Delanore. And my wife is here. And Tyler's driving the Honda Odyssey. And I haven't heard much from the spirit of my dearly departed great-grandfather Sylvester, so I don't know if he knows we're going to Wisconsin, but I feel like if the need arises, he'll reveal himself. Miles, I saw you play this week at the Get Down with Kyrkos.
Yes, I did.
Great vibes is what I was going to say. I didn't see like the whole second set. Because I had been doing parent-teacher conferences. Lord have mercy, God.
Ooh, God.
And my thing with Kyrkos is Kyrkos makes me want to play keyboard. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I did that this week, because I have to go play some keyboard abroad this evening and over yonder. And I listened to a podcast you guys were on, or not you, all of you, but Jacob and Jordan from Kyrkos were on, just kind of with the origin story of the whole thing, and I didn't necessarily remember all of those details, so that was really helpful to me. But my thing with that is, are you guys touring this spring too?
Yeah, next month. Doing Fayetteville, Waco, Texas. 2 nights we're Bisbee, Arizona, Sedona, Arizona. 2 nights in Vegas, Denver, Omaha, Kansas City, Columbia. Then back to St. Louis for Topps Blue Moon.
Yeah, I really like when is Vegas? That's 4/19 and 4/21.
Yes.
Because you guys are trying to go to Fish at the Sphere on 4/20.
Possibly.
Yeah, and so, but you're playing the night before and the night after, which I think is brilliant, because I do think you guys are a really contemporary interpretation of something that demographic would enjoy. So if people are in town to see Fish at the Sphere, I feel like Kyrkos the night before and the day after would be great.
The 19th and the 21st, we'll be doing late night shows, so people that are at the Sphere can come see us afterwards.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
I love that.
Try to wrangle in all these high hippies.
I think psychedelic music has probably continued to develop and progress constantly since its inception, but people always affiliate it with its origin in the late 1960s, and that's not really the whole thing.
Oh, it's a whole thing. It's
a whole thing beyond.
Yeah.
And beyond the festival scene of the 1990s, I mean, those festivals kept happening, and things kept developing. And
now there's so many festivals,
right? And then sometimes they're in the middle of the woods, and that I really like.
Yeah, I like some shade.
I like a wooded area.
Yeah.
And I love the beautiful state of Wisconsin. Has Kyrkos been to Wisconsin?
We played at the Rigby where we're playing tonight.
You did?
We did, yeah.
You did play at the Rigby. What can you tell me about it?
It's very cool.
It's cool?
Yeah. The venue's on the 3rd story.
God
but there is an elevator.
Shout out to elevators. We are going to make a list of all the shout outs Tyler could possibly squeeze into the episode this weekend. I've been trying out a new thing with the camera footage from these trips, where, because I don't necessarily want to record myself on video in the van just talking, because it's not glamorous. I've been making the video for the pod episodes like B-roll of the scene as we travel. I don't know if that's catching on or not. The footage is lovely. I got a fresh SD card loaded up. I mean, I got 100 gigs to shoot.
Let's go.
So we're just going to shoot everything.
I'm
going to shoot.
I'm going to blow.
And another really, guys, here's a tip. You don't necessarily have to bring your own drums on tour. If you plan effectively, we were just listening to the set from Cleveland last week at Dunlap's in Cleveland. Shout out to Cleveland. And everybody shared a kit that night, and the recording sounded great. The drums were spicy, sizzling.
Yeah.
Crispy.
They were nice. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get if you decide to go that route, but
Right.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly. And Dee Dee's here, but he's napping, so I'm not going to bother him. He needs to store up his chi. He was probably up all night cranking hog. And my favorite thing is this fucking scenery we got to sit through on our way to the great state of Wisconsin. We have to pass through hell to reach heaven. And Illinois is fucking hell to me. I think I hate Illinois more than Kansas. I fucked up at the Kirko show. Can I tell you a story about the Kirko show the other night at the Get Down?
I'm all ears.
Is that we were outside, me and Molly, and I was talking to a guy, Andrew, who introduced himself to me because he recognized me as a member of a hit new band called No Antics. And I was telling him how we were on tour, and he was asking about it. He asked about it. He said, how's the tour going? Because, anyway, and we were describing, Ohio and Idaho and Iowa. It's hard to keep them all straight. I don't know why we keep all the names. Why don't we just name them the number in which they joined the Union? And I said, for example, Missouri would be something like 23. And Molly looked it up, and it turns out Missouri was 24.
Ooh.
Pretty close. And
Yeah,
you know who
that's pretty
beat us
good.
to the punch? The goddamn People's Republic of Illinois. And so I may have mentioned something about how I fucking hate Illinois, but maybe these two friends of this guy I was talking to may be diehard Illinois people. Because their vibe was weird after I said that, but they didn't say anything. And then I came back out later as I was leaving, and they were introducing themselves to some girl, and she was saying she lived in some area they lived in. It's like, oh my God, us too, 618. They're all three Illinois enthusiasts.
Ooh.
And I just volunteered unprovoked that I don't like the People's Republic of Illinois, and I feel like I may have burned that market on the patio at the Get Down. I feel like those three people.
There's not much of a market in the 618 though.
That's what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
I'm saying, guys, if you would just
That's an
buy a
acceptable
house
bridge to
and
burn.
have a baby, then Illinois would be flourishing. But you're all just sitting over there being sad, drinking milk. We're going to the milk state, Wisconsin. I'm on spring break next week.
Spring break.
I'm out here in Miami.
Ski.
Miami. Party in the city when the heat is on.
Ooh.
Welcome to Miami. I'm going to Miami. We're definitely fucking bumping some Will Smith on the break.
Yeah.
We also should experience some increase in audio quality this time around because I have figured out how to record in the car without having to use the internet. And it turns out I just had to make this little window bigger so I could select the thing. You learn every time. If you don't force yourself to try to do a podcast on the road, you don't learn how to do it, Keenan. Who else is doing it like I'm doing it? Tyler is like a soundboard of myself. Tyler remembers my key quotes and will spit them back at me. Who else is doing it like I'm doing it, Keenan? And my God, look at, there's not even a swamp up here for us to point at. This is like they're growing wheatgrass. It's the Harmon Swamps, and London Tyler Lowe of Harmon Dobson is on the road with us. Him and Molly are in a different car, and they're I don't know when we're supposed to see them again. Oh, off Broadway. Oh, the T. Yes. Yeah, that man offered me cocaine in the bathroom, and I said, oh, no.
He offered me cocaine in front of my parents.
That's not that weird.
It was weird for me.
What? He offered him cocaine in front of his parents. In front of Miles' parents, Miles was offered cocaine by the ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I had to hold it myself. I'm balancing a laptop. I have a Sennheiser E945. You know what I was doing at 2 a.m. this morning? Looking up custom colored versions of this.
I saw it. It looked like an oil spill.
Well, they do the iridescent Illuminati finishes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Never
so
let them know your next move.
Yeah, so as soon as if we can sell Movie Boy to AMC theaters, like the license,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy us all a custom iridescent Sennheiser E945.
Nice.
We only need Yeah, we only need a couple grand to get a whole kit of custom Sennheiser E945s, premium German-engineered microphones. Prince and Jack White were early adopters of the Sennheisers. I used to always see them in those videos, and I was like, what are those? And now I have a whole box full of them. And I love bringing them to venues. We were listening to a recording from Cleveland, and it was just the vocal quality that I could be in control of was just great. You maintain some of that silky smoothness. You're tired right now? What'd you do last night, you hog? Did you have a little rendezvous? You had a little rendezvous? You know what? We'll be right back. And we're back. We were listening to Will Smith in the Honda Odyssey, and Tyler had a very hot take. He thought 1997 Big Willie style paid a lot of stylistic homage to Method Man. Certainly Method Man a la 1994 on Will Smith's rap hiatus.
I was hearing a lot of, he was like using the similar flow to Method Man, like a less grimy Method Man.
So we're thinking Will Smith took his first hiatus from rap to pursue acting.
Yeah.
To great success. And while he was gone, Method Man killing the New England flow.
To Cal.
If you listen to Bring the Pain
Judgment
by
Day.
Method Man, you could it's like a minor key Big Willie style.
Yeah.
I was going na 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 on Bring the Pain.
So Will Smith was kind of biting Method Man.
He was saying this is where this is what the people need, and so this is the real hip hop that I'm going to make radio friendly and mainstream, so you can listen to it in your 1990 something Ford Windstar.
And he also did that album with Redman, Blackout, but that might have been after Big Willie style. So
updates, Madison. People are panicking about the weather.
Yeah,
we had a band that was coming in from Kenosha that's going to sit this one out. It's probably for the best overall, but the show is still on.
We're still trekking,
and the accommodations are already done. And I do these deals I get for the hotels that are non-refundable, but that gives me access to pricing that would otherwise be inaccessible. So we're going.
And we're coming up with some kind of...
We're going to be there. I have AAA Platinum. I will have a tow truck drop us off.
We're saying we might book a show at the Red Roof Inn.
Yeah, I mean, if for some reason the venue chooses not to open today, I have all this gear, and we're going to be at a Red Roof Inn.
Open up that lobby.
Guitar Center will be open. I could go rent a couple PA speakers, and we could just,
make it happen.
We'll do it at the parking lot. Remember the Death Cab for Cutie, I Will Possess Your Heart video where it's cold? I think I made you watch this at Molly's.
I probably have seen it back in the day.
It's got a long instrumental intro. It's in D minor. It's a great song. And there's performance footage of them playing in like a giant freezer.
Or hit up the local Denny's.
Or here's the thing. With the employment crisis, I only have to win over a couple of employees for pretty much any business that we'll be in front of to let us do whatever we want. If I negotiate favorable terms, if I really listen to what the employees want and need and what they prioritize, I can make them love us.
And what the employees want is Femme Grime.
As long as I can play rock and roll and sell some shirts, this will be a successful trip. Yes. So I'm committed to those things. I told Tyler there's probably a university in town. There's some kids that would love something to do, especially if all the cool bars are going to be closed.
Yeah.
But the weather's supposed to be wrapping up by now. So by the time we actually get there, I don't actually think it'll be a problem. Remember that time it was snowing when we loaded in at Platypus and we thought no one was coming?
We actually had a great turnout.
The room looked full when we played. As long as the room looks...
No, it was full.
When I look up and there's people, I've never looked up with no Antics and seen no one.
That was
it's never happened.
That was the show with Synthetic Sun, I believe. That was the free show.
Even when we played at the record store,
the first time we ever played,
there were people there.
People love the grime.
There were people to talk to. There were people to interact with, and this is a huge part of what's kept me in the game. Is I obviously have an aptitude for technology, and I love toys, and I love gear, and I love that kind of stuff. So and that's been everything. If I didn't start playing music when I was a kid, my father and my grandfather were both gunmen, and taught me how to use firearms safely. And being from Missouri, it's just everyone just kind of has access to that growing up a lot of the time. Yeah. Now that being said, I probably would have been into that kind of stuff. I have a cousin who's a Marine, and he used to build bombs. There's a bomb at the bottom of the lake, and
well, hold up.
Sorry, I got a phone call and then it turned the Method Man back on.
Yeah, what's that bomb called? Lady Hope or something?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You said there was a bomb in the middle at the bottom
just
of
that,
a lake.
my cousin was improvising some explosives and he was going to test one out in this lake, but it never went off.
Oh, okay. Well, I was reading this Kurt Vonnegut book.
So it's still down there.
Timequake. And he mentioned something about a bomber being under a lake. I think it's called like Lady Hope or something.
Lady Hope.
I think. Don't quote me on that.
I wouldn't.
My retention is still not the best.
I wouldn't.
Despite how much I read.
Yeah. I am starting to get used. As we move farther north, I'm getting used to the landscape. It is a beautiful sunlit morning here in... Are we still in Illinois?
I couldn't tell.
We must be in Illinois. We haven't hit Chicago yet. We're taking Illinois
There's
all the way
no
up
way,
through
yeah.
Chicago.
And it's actually noon. It just hit noon. It's 12:12.
What did that sign say? World's largest covered something.
Something.
There's too many words for me to read in a meaningful time span. What were we talking about?
I was talking about
Will Smith, Method Man. The show is still on.
Kurt Vonnegut.
There's a bomb in the lake. So the gear thing has really kept me into this. And one of the things that you see at shows, there's always at least a couple of people who also play one of the instruments and they want to talk about the tools of the trade.
Yeah.
And, I love being able to have a good enough seat where I can notice details about what kind of equipment people are using on stage when I'm at a show.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a part of it that keeps me in it. Some people, like the environment to meet new people. Some people are just going to go to that place and drink alcohol anyway, and if there's something new happening, that's even better. And so whatever your situation is tonight in Madison, Wisconsin, I'll see you there. The Rigby, 9 p.m.
Rigby.
Hell or high water. I'll play in front of it. If the venue's not open, I'll play in front of it.
We'll
I'm
just
gonna
play
send
on
Miles.
the porch.
I'll send Miles to the Crown Mart to get 90 ham special lights, and we'll sell them for $1. It'll be a great time.
Yeah, that one person I think in Cleveland was really digging your keyboard stand.
My what?
Your keyboard stand, how it like folded in.
Oh yeah, it collapses and it becomes like the battering ram from the movie SWAT.
Yeah.
With LL Cool James.
Since we were listening to Will Smith, I was like, we should put on some LL.
Oh, I mean, I'm never too good for some LL.
Mama said knock you out.
Mama said knock you out.
I'm gonna knock you out.
Who is your favorite rapper from Wisconsin?
That's a good question. I probably couldn't name a rapper from Wisconsin.
I can name some from Michigan.
Yeah, like Eminem and Danny Brown.
And ICP.
Yeah, Quelle Chris, I believe, is from...
Google thought I meant Wisconsin Rapids.
Grand Rapids.
Oh, DC the Don?
There's a lot of rappers in Michigan. There's a great music scene.
But we're going to Wisconsin. Young Gravy is from Wisconsin.
Yeah, but you mentioned Michigan, yeah.
I did mention that. Rappers born in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you rappers from Wisconsin, but I could tell you rappers
DC
from
the Don. Key
Michigan.
Swag.
Key Swag.
Brother Ali.
Brother Ali.
Trustin. Ishtar.
I haven't heard of any of these guys. Yeah.
Wave Chappelle.
Wave, I like that.
That sounds like a No Antics song.
Yeah.
Wave Chappelle needs to do a collab with Harmon Dobson.
There's a...
Harmon Dobson featuring Wave Chappelle.
Sometimes I just listen to random rappers and artists that like are on the fans also like on Spotify. Like, if you like this artist, you'll like this one. One of them I came across was Nelson Bandela.
Vandella?
Bandela. Like you got the bands on you. Nelson Bandela. I always thought that was a good rap name. Do you have a favorite MC, Jacob?
If there was a rap album that I really ever bonded with, it's hard to say. Because there's certainly some historically. Like when I was a kid, I found a CD in my dad's closet called Bitch Better Have My Money by AMG. And it's really, really, really good and hilarious and very entertaining. Then also one of my favorite movies, probably my number 2 favorite movie of all time, is Die Hard.
Okay. Yeah.
And the opening of Die Hard has a really great Run DMC moment.
Oh yeah.
And Prince was also adjacent to some rap stuff in the 90s, and so like he was friends with like Dougie Fresh and like people like kind of has-been-y like that. I like KRS-One.
I like KRS.
I have a deeply historical perspective on hip-hop, and so I really like to go back and listen to stuff from different moments.
Yeah.
We talked about Outkast a lot when we were on our way to Lawrence. I love Outkast. But groups I feel like are cheating. I also really, really love Frank Ocean, but that's kind of R&B, hip-hop, like crossover. There's definitely, it's more hip-hop probably than traditional R&B, but it's he's kind of a singer. He's not just a rapper.
Every time I listen to Outkast, I don't know if we mentioned this on
I
the
love
Lawrence.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, Kendrick. I can't decide who I like better between Big Boy or Andre
I used
3000.
to do This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan at karaoke.
Yeah.
And that's got a good rap verse.
Did you hear Kendrick apparently dissed J. Cole and Drake?
Well, whatever. Kendrick Lamar could beat the shit out of both of those dudes.
Yeah.
J. Cole's playing a very, very dangerous game, being
like what?
trying to be authentic and independent, but also be like mainstream and like in bed with the Illuminati.
Drake. Yeah, touring with Drake.
So, and Kendrick Lamar was on a Taylor Swift song, so I'm not saying Kendrick Lamar is not in the Illuminati.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if we really want to talk some shit, Kendrick's a lot younger and a lot scrappier than them.
A lot. Out of the three of them, he's the most real.
If I saw the three of them about to square up in a bathroom and we were throwing money down on it, my money's on Kendrick.
I wonder if he's going to put out another album now that he's off of Top Dog.
He's off of what?
That label he's been on for years, Top Dog Entertainment.
He probably doesn't feel like he needs them.
Yeah.
So, he's also probably going to try to transcend the medium and do something that is, inaccessible in some way.
What do you think about James Blake and his whole his comment on the music industry? And he's like doing this thing where it's like you subscribe to an artist's vault, like.
That's what I do with my Patreon.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about with Omar Rodriguez Lopez. It's like, listen, like Louis C.K. with his stand-up that he's always talking about his primitive website that he just sells everything on.
Yeah.
And that, it's like, wait, I have the technology now to give you top-shelf quality content.
Yeah.
And if you pay me directly, it's cheaper for you, it's better for me, and you can have access to everything. If you give me $5, I'm making more money on my whole catalog off of you than if you listen to it all
I feel like that could
on Spotify.
I feel like that could definitely work, but
that's the thing. He's already had success in the mainstream avenues to where people are like, oh, I know James Blake, I like James Blake, I'll go find him on his independent platform.
Yeah.
The problem is that everyone's always complaining about is people that don't have that built-up audience yet to siphon money out of. I thought he was cruising up on me. Is that a Lincoln?
I feel like as long as Spotify and iTunes are like doing their thing, it's going to be really hard.
Well, we talked about this in the Instagram thread that they're trying to pass legislation of some kind that would somehow make the minimum payout for a stream a penny,
which is insane.
Well, because it's so much more than it is now. A penny is so much more money. Spotify's never going to do that.
What is it now?
Oh my God, it's fractions of a penny.
Oh shit!
It's like it's like 5 zeros 17
of
after
a
the
penny.
decimal.
Yeah,
of a penny.
Yeah, the music industry is really
well. And here's the thing: I've been
up.
teaching my kids about this to try to drum up some buy-in about the music we're going to play and whatnot. And I've been telling them that we watched Ken Burns' whole series on jazz.
Yeah.
From PBS, and it talks about, physically how the music was allowed to start in New Orleans, like how the instruments got down there and how the people that ended up playing them got down there, and then it takes you on the whole journey of how those people adapted throughout the 100-year cycle of the record industry. The Victrola comes out in 1901. And that's really the first time where you could capture music in a way that you could sell it to somebody to enjoy later. It's like inventing the to-go box for the first time.
I feel like
Because before that, if you made a living at music at all, it was live performance exclusively. And so then we went on this 100-year journey, all the way through, and I'm talking about Tom Petty and him suing his record label, and John Fogerty suing himself or whatever, or the record label sued him for plagiarizing himself, and like all the way through to Napster and Metallica, and now artists today with like Snoop Dogg saying he got 70 billion streams on Spotify or something, and it was 1 billion streams.
I feel like
and they gave him
if
$70,000.
Bandcamp was just bigger, that'd be better.
But that's
for
the thing.
artists.
Bandcamp is not for users. Bandcamp is for bands.
Yeah, but it's like
Bandcamp exists for people that want to start putting their band on the internet. It's really great for that, but it's not for the user.
Yeah, it just like supports the artist directly, though.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but it's not. I mean, that's not the platform that's going to do it. I
wish
think
it was
Patreon is
bigger.
way more compelling. I've been putting our live sets on my Patreon because there's only like 12 people that could access that, and those are the people that would come to our shows if they were.
I feel like Bandcamp is just so underrated.
But they can listen to our live shows like a podcast. You know what I mean? Because they can leave it running in the background, and it's a seamless app. We were listening to it on Patreon here in the car. That that Bandcamp is just not integrated or updated like that because it's it needs the money. Justin Timberlake bought MySpace at one point.
Really?
And I thought they were going to revamp the whole music thing on MySpace, and that didn't happen. Somebody like that needs to come in and say, Bandcamp, let's make it competitive.
Yeah.
If Bandcamp could make it competitive and spend a couple $1 million on some development.
Because I love Bandcamp.
Yeah, I do too. And, if you're into communicating or touching artists that you want to support directly, that's a great way to do it.
I love how
they need to join the market space.
I love how you can like directly buy merch from a band.
That's the thing. Blinded by Stereo's vinyl is only for sale on Bandcamp or at shows because it's an easy way for us to get it out to the people. Otherwise, you got to pay fees and stuff for even just hosting a store somewhere. So, we'll be right back.
It's rough out here.
We're back. The boys are up. We're on our way to Madison. We just stopped at Roadie's Atlanta, and that's Atlanta, Illinois. And there's a Wally's 57 miles out.
Have to pay homage.
And I think Wally's wants people to skip the Roadies to come straight to Wally's, but I couldn't wait another hour to pee.
I've also never been to that restaurant. Food.
Is that a sign on the Casey's, though? Or is that a separate restaurant?
It just says food.
That's a separate restaurant. It says food next to the Casey's. Food and slots? Pull over. Fuck Madison. I'll play here in Atlanta, Illinois. We're so excited. We're on our way to Madison, the Red Roof Inn.
Shout out to Sydney for giving me that half burrito.
Sydney
shout
Vogel of the Vogel twins with a burrito. She came through with a burrito. What is funny about hooking a brother up with a burrito?
Vogel twins, they're not twins.
Can a bitch get a piece of a burrito? If you have any
They're not
leftover
twins, for the
burrito
record.
pieces for Tyler, can a bitch get Tyler's burrito piece?
It's not a swamp.
It's not a swamp, and
For the record, I'm not from a swamp, and they're not. The Vogels are sisters, but not twins.
they should.
But he is from a
they should-
swamp.
What I'm saying is they should rebrand as twins.
Like how me and Dieter are rebranding as brothers.
Yeah,
We
you
are
guys
brothers. We
you
just
guys
gotta start
my-
saying we are. We're
you
not
guys are my
rebranding, we
sons.
just are brothers.
But you're half brothers, really.
Yes.
Dee Dee's father was Australian, and your father was either an alligator or a crocodile. But I can't trust him to be the one to tell me which he was, and I don't have a sample.
We can find a sample.
You're going to have to get a sample from Tyler's father, which I haven't been able to do in all these years of hearings and subpoenas and.
Alligator or crocodile? He shed crocodile tears.
That's what you. That's what you won. That's what you 1 minuted me for through a Gardetto.
Yep.
What is that you're eating?
Pretzel, peanut butter, or cracker peanut butter.
Okay, never mind. I burnt Tyler out while you guys were asleep. He's done all his words for the day, I think.
Yeah.
He's got a shout out he's queuing up though. 3, 2, 1.
Shout out to peanut butter crackers.
I knew it. I knew he had one. I knew he had one. He's the shout out king of the swamp.
He is the shout out king of the swamp.
You know what? shout out to shout outs. I just like.
Yeah, he likes shouting them out. He's not. We don't give him a mic all the time, and so
when in doubt, shout it out.
Shout it out.
You know.
And you know who I like to shout out the most?
The devil. Shout out the devil.
Levi Strauss and
I was
Company.
actually going to say the exact opposite, you demon. I was going to say the Lord.
Shout out Jesus Christ.
Shout out Jesus Christ, Jehovah God Almighty, for my new hit single.
Wait. So Jehovah, like, what is like? So I know Jehovah Witness is the people
Jehovah's
that walk.
Witnesses
but
refer
what
to
is
a
that
specific.
religion?
They refer to themselves as a specific higher sect of believers who are the limited VIP group of the only people ever allowed to get into heaven. They believe something like only 300,000 people can get into heaven, and they don't celebrate holidays and all kinds of stuff.
So where did this come from?
Well, it's just like when you say Church of Christ, it's like saying Jehovah's Witnesses. It's to them like saying God's witnesses, the true witnesses of God. And it's an old name for God.
So has this been a thing as long as like normal religions, or is this more of a Scientology type thing?
It's probably somewhere in between. I'd bet it's somewhere in between. It's older than Scientology.
What do you think? Okay, what would it take for you to be brainwashed into Scientology? What would they have to say to you? Travolta?
I mean, they would have to offer me quantifiable improvements to my life that I felt like I couldn't get without them.
But, like, how do you fucking believe it, though?
So,
okay, what are their views?
Can I start with the Jehovah's Witnesses, because you asked me that first?
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses is a non-Trinitarian, millenarian, restorationist Christian denomination as of 2023.
You're just using a bunch of more words that I don't know.
Hold on.
Oh.
The denomination is directed by a group of elders known as the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, which establishes all doctrines. They believe that the destruction of the present world system at Armageddon is imminent, and the establishment of God's kingdom over earth is the only solution to all of humanity's problems. So Jehovah's Witnesses, a big part of the thing, especially in the 21st century that people talk about with them, can you turn the air on, is that they believe that Armageddon is going to happen at any minute, and that they're always being prepared to be the chosen, redeemed in Christ. They want to be the ones that get raptured, and they believe the only way that the human race moves forward is for
knocking on doors
to be saved in Armageddon. They believe the world has to be destroyed to transcend the imperfect nature of human life.
Oh.
But they also believe that only a select few of even them are allowed to even get into heaven, and that there's a literal government of heaven that's going to descend on earth to rule in the future.
Like God's up there with a mallet, like a gavel,
and a hierarchy, like a system of like a parliament of angels and saints, and that it's an actual organized structure. So it's cool. They used to send a real bad bitch to my house, so I would pray with them, but they never sent her by herself, so I quit answering the door. Worth the wait. That's what they're saying. They're saying don't go to Roadie's Atlanta. They're saying go 50 more miles to Wally's and spend $12 on a bag of jerky.
Don't shit your pants in the car. Just try.
Don't stop the car. Fill that Quick Trip cup up with piss and keep going, because Wally's is on the horizon.
Yeah.
You can dump it. Apparently, Buc-ee's has a problem where people die in the parking lot.
Buc-ee's?
I was listening to a podcast, and they were on tour in Texas, and they were going to Buc-ee's, and so they would look up news stories about the Buc-ee's that they were at, and it was always like, so-and-so found dead in their car at Buc-ee's. I'm sure that's definitely some of them. Some of them could be other medical incidents. Some of them could be criminal in nature otherwise.
Buc-ee's is just a South thing, right? That's a Southern?
Mostly Texas, I think. But it's a lot like Wally's.
And Wally's is the one that just got built in Kirkwood, right? Or not Kirkwood,
Fenton.
but Fenton.
Yeah. That's beyond the swamp.
Yeah, I heard they have really good popcorn.
Yeah.
They got like everything.
I like popcorn. I like the barbecue sandwiches. I like, of course, the jerky. The fountain sodas are lovely. I like their selection of ice. They got a good thing going with their form of ice. It's a crushed, chewy kind of ice.
I feel like you could probably like tell us which gas stations have the best ice.
Yeah, I was in the middle of that, I thought. I do love Quick Trip, but Quick Trip really, to be competitive across the market space, needs to be fully functioning. So if I can get either form of ice and all of my favorite things at Quick Trip always wins for me. But the Quick Trips around me, sometimes shit quits working for a couple days.
Yeah.
So then, I could fall into the arms of a mobile on the run.
What's your favorite kind of ice? Is it crushed or cubed?
I like the pellety kind of crushed ice. Yeah, like Sonic or, but some people call it crushed, and it's not always the same. Some crushed ice is too fine. It's like a snow cone almost.
Yeah, you're almost like sucking it out.
And then it just melts right away.
Yeah. And
Funk's Grove.
Funk's Grove.
Look at that beautiful tree.
Funk's
Can I go
Grove.
shoot some content on that tree?
Where?
The tree over there.
Oh, the one in the middle?
Look at that tree all by itself.
I don't know. We might get shot.
Yeah, there's a fact.
They'll be like, I was scared for my life.
I was scared for my life. That man was saying those were his sons.
That man
and
was
he was their
400.
mom. And this is Illinois. And I am not going to allow a sex predator to come onto my property to shoot content in front of my lone bush.
That man was at least 700 yards from my house.
He had no boots on.
And he didn't even have boots on.
They drove that. I don't even know what I could call this car sensitively in in a role play situation. They wouldn't like that this is a Honda, is what I'm saying. They said they brought that damn Honda in my fence line, officer. Sheriff, I told you I don't put up with no nefarious characters. Once they cross the fence line in a foreign car, it's over.
No boots on?
No boots. This man had on Croc boots. He said they were Croots, and so I shot him twice in the sternum.
I mean, seriously, how are you going to walk through a field with no boots?
How you gonna walk through a field in Croots?
In Croots?
Answer me that. You cannot, Sheriff. This is Atlanta, Illinois.
Atlanta, Illinois. That's almost like, wait, isn't there like a Rome or like,
We have Mexico,
like
Missouri.
Paris,
We
like
have
a
Cuba,
Paris.
Missouri. There's a Cairo, Illinois, which is spelled like Cairo, but they call it Cairo because they hate the East.
there's like a
Versailles,
You want to talk about a dead town? Like
Cairo, Illinois.
You ever drove through there?
I've stopped at that exit.
Yeah, it's like.
I've never been through the
dead.
town.
It's like a ghost town.
Cairo, Illinois, on a Saturday night, I might jump in.
Show in Cairo, Illinois.
Just at that barbecue stand that I don't actually think is open.
Yeah, it's like just like one strip, but it's just a ghost town.
Ooh, a nice barbecue pulled pork sandwich sounds pretty good right
I
now.
did identify a good barbecue place that's quick serve, like the place we liked in Kansas City, that's in between the venue and the hotel, if we want to do that.
Do
Girl.
they have Siemens?
I don't know if they call it a Zeman, but I'm sure they'll whip you up something like it. If you pull up a photo and say, listen,
Hey, you haven't seen me, they're like, what?
Excuse me, Miss Wisconsin barbecue lady. I'm a wary traveler. If I show you a picture of a sandwich, what do you think you can do me? You think you could whip me up a couple Zemans?
Couple Siemens.
You all got bacon? Can you put mac and cheese on my Zeman?
Why is Wisconsin known for cheese?
Well, that's where they historically make a lot of the cheese. The Wisconsin Dells is one of the largest dairy exporters in the world.
Ah.
And so they're known for that. I've actually been
Interesting.
just to tour it as a child, and we ate cheese curds the whole way home.
Really? Dude, cheese curds are fucking
Cheese curds are the shit.
delicious. Oh my
yeah,
god.
Wisconsin cuisine, I think to a lot of people, they think it's just Culver's. But there's also exclusive beer in Wisconsin. A company called New Glarus makes beer in Wisconsin. It's really hard to get in St. Louis, so every time I come up here, people are say, oh, are you going to drink that, or are you going to bring some back, or whatever? I'm California sober, so I'm bringing my own DCs from Ferguson because I'm a patriot. I got these at the Sam's Club in Ferguson.
Can I get a
That's like-
Speaking of,
That's like Bud
Can you get
Select
one?
in
Yeah,
St.
of
Louis.
course.
may I have a
Yeah, I'm going to get you one.
Those teachers where you're like, can I go to the bathroom? And they're like, I don't know, can.
Of course, everybody had those.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't know. Do you want me to?
Can we talk about
shit
this
right
for a minute?
now?
That's just the greater problem with our civilization, and I can point to many examples of this that you guys have experienced, is that people hate other people's children. people
Yeah.
hate other people's children. If you're at a restaurant, even with your own kids, you don't want to see other people's kids there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people, like, when you go to any kind of a church service, they do like 10 minutes and then they kick the kids out.
But I've also noticed, specifically, I know a few teachers who teach, like, young kids, and they're the craziest ones also.
No, those
Like,
people
they're
are not well. I
insane.
mean, they agree to go to school forever and to live in that environment forever. I am going to be in 6th grade until I'm 60.
But
You know what I mean?
yeah, I feel like 6th graders, like, they're are 6th graders tolerable,
This is
or
the
are
thing.
they kind
People
of
aren't
like
even
more
interested
annoying?
enough in other people's children to really know. You know what I mean? And as a whole, they're so different. They're just like any other group of people, and that it's really, you know. But then the problem becomes that you have to refer to them as a population, but the kids themselves are not necessarily consenting to being a part of a population.
So what would be easier to teach? Like okay, so obviously not like easier, but what would be like, I guess, easier to teach? Like 6th grader, like 8th graders, or like kindergarten?
Kindergarten definitely has like challenges that you would understand, but they are still so sweet and lovely and funny in kindergarten that kindergarten is always a nice break in the day. Like I used to work on a campus where I would pop into a lot of different classrooms, and if I had a really hard morning in, say, 4th grade or 8th grade, I could go down to kindergarten and feel a lot better.
Yeah, you know that it's going to be,
Yeah. Now it's also not for
because they're also not like making fun of you yet. Like
Not
when you
quite.
get to 6th and 7th
Sometimes
grade, that's when
they'll-
they start like hating their teachers and like
and
all
they'll
that
say
kind of
really,
shit.
they'll say really
Well, the
mean,
malice kicks
yeah.
in.
They'll say really mean adult-sounding things as they get older. But when they're little like that, they don't even have much of the vocabulary to even employ. Even if they do say some bad words, sometimes as a kindergartner, it's funny and kind of out of context.
My kindergarten.
Wheels. Oh! I was getting in the Grand Marquis, loading my Diet Cokes into the trunk from a long day of teaching, and the kids were on the bus leaving, and they said, "Mr. V, get in this beat-up ass car. Where the wheel at?" Because I don't have a hubcap on one of my wheels. And I said, "I'm sorry, where the wheel at?" They screamed it at me out of the school bus, and I wanted to say, "You're on a bus. I get to take this car wherever I want."
Oh my god.
But they were gone because the bus was driving. And I looked at my wheel, and I said, "Where is the wheel?"
I'm missing a hubcap too.
I have it in the trunk. My stepdad just didn't put it on when he fixed my tire.
I drove my 98 Camry for 7 years without hubcaps.
Yeah.
Without any of them? The guy at the Volvo dealership made fun of me the other day.
Why?
He said, "Oh, is that your car out there with the black wheel?"
He said, "Sir, you know what it's
And
called."
I said, "Sir? Ooh, 5-0.
The one time.
My kindergarten teacher, who she was like awesome and like a really fun teacher, and she would like, you know, go out to like recess and like play kickball and shit with us. Turns out, so one of my friends dated her daughter in like high school and shit, who turned out to be like insane person, and her mom, and so she turned out to be really extremely racist, which we didn't know when I was in kindergarten. But she told there was a big thing on Facebook where
You were in a private school?
Yeah.
That's also, you'll notice that the people that will, because a lot of private schools, especially around St. Louis, that broader area, and a lot throughout the Midwest, private schools often pay a lot less than public schools. And so the people that are there are kind of being...
Wait, they pay less?
Oh, yeah, a lot of them. Now, there's really competitive ones where sometimes they pay more, but public schools have federal funding per student. And so to incentivize people to teach in those more unpredictable environments, they can build out over time all these grand unionized sort of benefits and salary increases. Whereas a private school, when I got out of college, a private school would have started paying me like $29,000 with a BA to teach
Jesus
English.
Christ.
It doesn't make any sense.
Wow. And you'd be stuck with a bunch of racists, apparently.
Well, and that's the thing, too. I mean, I have real anxiety about the greater education crisis, certainly in my own community, because I remember people I knew when I was a kid saying, "Oh, we sent our kids to Catholic school for XYZ," and there were always never a good reason. It was
Yeah.
always to keep away from a certain somebody or to, you know what I mean? It was always about like privilege and power and segregation, and it was really sad. And then it was 1996 when I started kindergarten, and I'm as weird as I am, but it was the 90s and I was in a Catholic school, and it was really, really hard. They really were not equipped to handle all of this. You know what I mean? So you'll find that, Dee Dee, like you were saying, that sometimes you may see somebody that when you're a kid, you're like, oh, that's a sweet kindergarten teacher at a private school, and then you realize, oh, she's broken crazy.
Yeah.
She's actually fueled by hate.
Yeah, dude.
She was nice to us because she thinks we're supreme in some way.
It was insane because I had such like good memories, and then I see her posting on Facebook like "Go back to your country" and stuff like that, and I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, I had teachers that I worked with in former districts that were really, really conservative about very, very specific issues in a way that didn't make sense for them being, you know, in service in a public institution. But we see it with everything. We see it with politics. We see people that work at the DMV or a license office, and they won't let people get married even though they're legally allowed to get married, so they get fired, and then half the people act like they're a hero. I mean, these things
I just
happen.
had the worst like month of like DMV trips. I went back 5 fucking
I thought you were saying
times.
DMT trips, but he meant visits to the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles.
I was on DMT.
Shout out
That's
Pete
why.
Buttigieg.
Who's that?
He was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and then he ran for the Democratic primary. Now he's the Secretary of Transportation.
Huh.
He's a CIA operative, and he's a gay mayor from Indiana. So they were trying to push him on that and be like, "Look, we have a big gay mayor."
There's this big like.
Turns out he's an op, bruh.
There's this big like retired CIA dude who's been doing a bunch of podcasts lately. I don't know if you've like seen him. He's been on like Schultz podcast and all that shit. But he's like somewhat talking about like more or less everything that's like wrong with the CIA, and
the guy with the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. He's, I mean, obviously an operative.
Well, that's what they were saying. They were like, I feel like you're still in it and you're just not telling us, and you're coming here trying to like collect information for shit. And he just kept saying that he's not in it and stuff. But I'm like, how easy is it really to just get out of something like that, like with nothing?
Well, and his perspective is
nothing,
that
like as a catch,
once you're no longer in the CIA, your friends that are still in the CIA still can talk to you about stuff, and you can, you know, work private intelligence, and that, which is crazy, but people don't understand that. Like, just like we have some more understanding now that there's private military and security forces. You know what I mean? That like it's not that weird to think of like people that went to fight in the Ukraine because the U.S. would not officially deploy troops there. There were people that volunteered to be paid privately to go over there and train people and coordinate things. And it's the same way with intelligence.
Well, the CIA is not private, is it?
No, but that's what that guy was saying, is that, you know, Trump didn't want to work with the CIA, so he worked with a lot of what we call private intelligence, which are just people that are given a lot of money, and then they could do whatever they want with it to get the information they want, and they're not bound by the same rules, and if they get caught, they're not implicated as the U.S. government. I hate to take you on the whole trip. The sickness is deep.
Yeah, those are probably like a bunch of
Cleopatra was black,
Well, yeah.
which I'm for.
Yeah, man.
So
Have you heard about? I know fucking everybody seems to be talking about this lately, but the pyramid in Antarctica. What's up with that? Give me some information on that if you got it.
You want me to look it up?
Yeah.
Pyramid in Antarctica.
Because apparently it's like some crazy like 5 times the size of the ones in like, you know, Egypt and.
I got it. Every time I do a voice thing, it turns Will Smith back on.
I have not heard of that.
Yeah, no. Apparently it's like ridiculously like just way bigger than all the other ones, and it's still like, you know, they're all kind of like in a like they're all fucking, I don't know, somewhere like something longitude, latitude, yeah, something like that. It's like also like that.
Mysterious pyramid found peeking from below the ice in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Below the ice.
Peeking up from below the ice as the ice is receding, it's revealing a pyramid. Is this an actual photo?
Give me that Lenny Kravitz. Yeah.
The Milky Way.
Wait.
The Milky Way.
What came first, Lenny Kravitz or Lil Jon?
Lenny Kravitz.
Because they both give it the good old yeah.
Are you saying Little John is just Lenny Kravitz 20 years later?
I'm saying that Lil Jon is Lenny Kravitz.
He's doing like a
But he's doing like a Garth
You know what? Their
Brooks.
hair is awfully similar.
He's doing like a Garth Brooks. What was his alter
Chris
ego?
Gaines.
Chris Gaines kind of thing.
Like a dragonfly.
Like a dragonfly. A dragonfly. Eat the sun.
I want to eat the sun.
Banana bam
A
down.
Milky Way. I wanna
Lenny Kravitz has. Yeah. That man is jacked for
He's
like
jacked,
a fucking
and I've
50,
seen his
60-year-old.
pee-pee.
You've seen his pee-pee?
Yeah, he was wearing leather pants with no underwear at a festival, and he busted a move playing guitar, and his pants ripped open, and he was hanging.
Oh, you were just gonna act like that
Bro.
wasn't planned.
He's got a real sweet piece on him.
We're just gonna act like Lenny Kravitz.
He's got a
the
real
dude who's
sweet
like
piece.
known for like being
Did you see
sexy.
that interview he did
Didn't
earlier this year? And
cut
they took all
a
those
pinhole
photos of
in there
him in his
before.
apartment in like Paris.
Huh?
He's got like a townhome in Paris, and he just did a photo shoot there for a magazine. He's like 60 years old, but he's like wearing no shoes with leather pants, and he's like laying on a.
I think that's like what made me think of it because he's got like fucking hardcore washboard abs and shit.
Oh, we're in Bojangles country.
Bojangles.
That's the first Bojangles I've seen since we've hit the road. Shout out to Lenny Kravitz's dong.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bojangles.
Shout out to D'Angelo's dong.
So is it a hog?
It's real sweet. It's not like it's not like hyperbolic. It's not like Boogie Nights. You know what I mean? It definitely looks like a real piece, but it's a sweet one. It's the sweet one.
It's the sweet one. Isn't that Prince?
No, that's actually, you know who that is? That's what's his name? Justin Diaguardi from season 1 of American Idol.
Huh.
The runner-up from season 1 of American Idol was Mr. Sweet 20 years later in the Dr. Pepper commercials.
It's the sweet one.
It's the sweet one.
A Milky Way.
The Milky Way.
So is there any other information on that?
I don't know. I'd have to read and hold this microphone and
Yeah,
balance this
not worth
laptop
it,
and
not
drive.
worth it, not
If I
worth it.
read in the van, I get
cut
car
that,
sick.
Cut that.
Cut that.
Cut that.
Cut that.
Cut that.
No, I don't need it yet. But if I read that whole article about Antarctica, I'm going to need a Dramamine.
Do you edit these? Because
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it depends. If there's certain things that I don't, I'll clip very, very small things.
I feel like
I like to leave the whole segment in and just remove a name or a number if I need to.
there's things that we say cut, but they don't get cut.
Well, do I go through and cut the entire segment every time we say cut that? No.
Cut that.
But if we use somebody's last name or we refer to something in a quantifiable way that may be inappropriate, I try to go through and cut those details.
Like if I were to say my kindergarten racist teacher's full name.
Right, yeah, but just don't do that. It's more
Which
work
I'm
for
not
me.
gonna do that.
However, we are recording in Reaper right now, so I have a lot more control than I usually do. I was recording in Soundtrap because I know how to do it, but now I fixed Reaper, so it works just fine. So we have more power. I can edit offline.
Huh.
And Gucci Gang. Shout out to Reaper.
Reaper.
Shout out to all the pairs.
Shout out to Love.
And that means I can record all the sets in Reaper too, and it'll be a lot easier. Yeah, I had to go back to the grocery music video and blur out my own address, which YouTube lets you do in YouTube native and post.
Oh, that's nice.
But my wife was like, "You put our fucking address in that video," and I had to go through, and YouTube was like, "You can blur it," and I'm like, "I'll blur it." And so there's just a little blur over my address, and all it takes is one. All it takes is one person to be like, "Oh, his address is in that video. I'm gonna go wear him like a coat." I'm gonna go to that address. That's where the movie starts. It's the guy watching the video in front of my house, and he pauses on my address, and he locks his phone, and he walks up, and then it's the opening credits of the latest
He goes, I like that
American
man.
Horror Story. American
like
Horror
that
Story.
man.
Femme Grime Stalker.
Who is this?
Who is this man?